Hey everyone, so it has been a long time. I wanted to come on here and do a writing update for you guys. I did make tea, as you guys saw. I just wanted this to be a very chill kind of conversation, though I don't think I can drink this because it's quite hot. I want to first start off with short stories. I wasn't planning on writing a short story, like obviously for myself, but I am a writing major if you didn't know, and so I was doing the fiction unit for my class, and so I had to write a short story, and thankfully I am familiar with the form because I've written a few short stories. Had I not been, I would have been panicking, but I wrote a short story called The Species is Dead. So The Species is Dead is a really short story. The max word count was like 1250, I think. And the story, I think, clocks in at around 1100 words. I've written short stories in the past, obviously, but I never really exercised the form. It was kind of me just dawdling through a story and hoping it worked, which is fine, but I had a better idea of what structure looked like for short fiction, especially since this is basically flash fiction. I just really wanted to hammer down my structure and not really just idle. So the story has actually been mulling in my brain for a few months. This is the weirdest thing I have ever written. I had the title idea for The Species is Dead for months. I've had it just sitting in my title idea document for forever. And so I was literally waiting for the short story that I could pair with that title because I really like the title, The Species is Dead. I thought it was super cool. I kid you not, it's probably been since like March or something that I've had this title. And I also had this idea from something my brother said. So my family and I recently got a new fridge back. Obviously, my home back in Toronto. I'm not there right now. I'm very far away from it. But we got a new fridge, and the original fridge, which you might have peeked some glances at in some other vlogs, was this white fridge, really old, almost my age, basically. That's how old it was. So we got a new one, and so my mom got my brothers and some of his friends to like move the old fridge into the basement. And my other brother was talking about, I don't know why he was saying this. He was like, yeah, he kept referring to the old fridge as the auxiliary fridge, like the secondary one, like kind of like the bonus, like surprise fridge that's in the basement. When he kept saying that, something clicked, and I just wrote something down. It was a note about a sister, and they replaced the fridge, and I was like, oh my god, this is really bizarre. So I believe the note that I wrote is now the first sentence of the short story. I'm not going to share it because I do want to get the short story published. It's been a very long time with this idea, and I was just trying to figure out what's going on, because originally I was like, this is like a sister, and maybe they're doing something. Maybe she's putting her stuff in the fridge, or like, I don't know what she's doing. And then the plot line thickened, and now the story is called The Species is Dead, and it is about an invasive species. You'd think an invasive species would, just be a regular old invasive species. But the invasive species is a woman named Janice, and yeah, so that's The Species is Dead. There's just like 500 Janices running around this small town, and suddenly like they start dying one day, and the story is told in first person collective, so we see this, we do that. And it is these three siblings, they're very young children, watching their mother do some shady shit to the Janices. When I get feedback from my TA, I will edit it and then I will send it off. But yeah, that is The Species is Dead. It is one of my favorite things I've written, like I said. I think it's really clean. I think it's kind of funny. Some of my favorite dialogue I've written. So the next thing I want to talk about is Houses with Teeth, and this is the 7th book of Fostered. And I just want to talk about Fostered generally. This is the Fostered segment. Welcome to the Fostered segment, guys. I have been having a really difficult time with this series, and I haven't written in Reeves' head in a very long time, and I am getting really scared that I'm not going to remember how. And honestly, I know that I felt this exact same way back when I stopped writing book 3, like halfway through, like not even halfway through. I was like 100,000 words through book 3 of this series, and for some reason it immediately halted. Everything stopped, and I was in grade 9 at the time, so I was 14 when this happened, and it devastated me. I'd written 3 books over a few 100,000 words with these characters, and I did not know why my process had stilted, and I didn't know what I was doing wrong, and I tried a lot because I didn't want to give up on this book and on this series and on those characters, because they meant a lot to me in a way that I didn't even know. Like, I was too young to understand what was happening. Processes stilled, books just can't be written at that time, stuff happens, you know? I was really, really sad about it. I was about to give up a cast of characters that I adored. It's the same cast of characters y'all know, like Reeve, Foster, Harrison, Lonan. And I didn't want to give them up, but I did for a few months. So I gave up on the entire series basically in October of that year. I think it was 2016, 2015. I'm really bad at years. I don't know. I think it was 2015 actually. And I just sort of let it go, and then slowly I started chipping away at it. I tried to change the point of view. I was really sad about that, and then in May something just happened, and you know that something was Emily. I added a new character into Fostered, and it really revived the dynamic. I have had no breaks from this series literally since I was in grade 10. No wonder I'm a little bit burnt out right now. I had never not been writing Fostered. Like, for the last 5 years I've been writing Fostered, and it's been a blessing and it's been a huge gift for me, but it's also been kind of exhausting. And as much as I love the series, it's kind of hard when you have nothing else going on, and that is literally the only thing you've been thinking about for years. And so when I finished book 6, I was not expecting to take months off of Fostered. I was not expecting this to happen. Like, I finished the book in April, but technically I had finished writing that chapter in March or something. So let's like say I finished it in April. Like, it's been 7 months, like I thought. So I have not written with her in a very long time, and it's been kind of scary. I have been having this issue where I want to write something literary. That's the kind of stuff I like to read a lot, and I love books with focus on atmosphere and character, less on plot. And I'm also torn with writing the series in the way it's supposed to be, because Fostered started as a very dystopian series, and it only sort of stopped being dystopian fully like halfway through book 6. So, you know, at this point, I don't want to write with the dystopian aspect at all anymore. I just want to focus on the tension between these characters, but I'm having a really hard time because I feel like I'm growing out of the story. That sounds really fucking depressing. I'm having this issue where I'm trying to make Fostered more serious than it needs to be, like Houses with Teeth in particular. I'm trying to take it in a direction it doesn't want to go in. I kind of have been flip-flopping. I'm like, okay, well, I want to be the super literary, like, blah, 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 we're going to change everything kind of a thing. I've also been flip-flopping to be like, no, fuck it, I'm going to do whatever I want. I want it to be super fun. Like, it doesn't have to be serious. It's just for me. And then I've been flip-flopping back and forth between those two things. And it's like, do I change this? Do I not change this? Do I move away from the plot line that was at the end of book 6, or do I start something brand new? I was talking to Sarah, because this is what I do when I don't know what to do. Having a twin is, I recommend it. It's really helpful when you don't know what to do with your life. I asked her, and she was like, basically, why are you going to change it when there's basically so much tea left? And it kind of clicked with me, where I was like, okay, I don't want to write something that isn't Fostered. And the thing is, if I want to write something a bit more serious, I can write that too. But for like book 7, I want it to come back to what these books have always been about, and it's always been about that unit, the 4 characters, 5 including Darren, my man, let's not forget him. Basically what I'm trying to say is I'm gonna keep it the way it is because drama. One thing I know for sure, I do not want to name it something no. We're not going with this stupid title trend that I've literally been locked into for 5 years. We're not doing it. No. So after Houses with Teeth, let's look at Mothwork. So Mothwork is the novel I'm working on right now. And you know how I said I haven't, written anything outside of fostered. Like, I've written Moth work, still fostered. So that's the current project I'm working on right now, and I know I'm making it sound like I dislike it. I actually didn't realize how necessary it was for me to write that book and to actually make it a book. It's very clear to me now why it's so necessary for me to do. Y'all, I'm not a planner. You know I'm not a planner. That's led to a few things. First of all, it's led to me creating probably the best prose I've created. I cannot write properly when I'm outlining. At the same time, I don't really characterize. And, you know, that's not true for everybody. I've characterized very in-depth one character. No, I'm making myself sound so bad. Moth work follows two characters. It follows Harrison and Lonan and their relationship because it's messy as fuck. And I was like, let me write a book about tea. It is following the relationship, and it is actually a really important subplot relationship to the major plot of Fostered, which is Reeve's story. So Reeve is Lonan's half-sister, and so they have a very strange relationship. It's been kind of on-off sort of thing, but they really, they adore each other at the same time. It's really funny. I didn't realize how important it was for me to sort through Lonan's issues with Harrison and Harrison's issues with Lonan to Reeve's story. It's actually really important. So Harrison is also, one of Reeve's best friends. I mean, Reeve is really bad at friends, but, you know, he's her friend, and he's been her friend for a very long time. So I really need to get into their heads and see what they thought of her and also what they were doing, because it's also really helpful to understand that so I can write book 7 properly. So I do want to jump into book 7. However, I know it's a better idea for me to finish Moth work first because I'm going to find out more shit that I didn't know, and I've literally done a lot of excavating of character development since writing Moth work, and it's been really helpful for me. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!